Hello ladies and gentlemen, Nick here, trying out a new position for this review, sitting down on my floor with the camera stacked on top of my Heritage Bird Feeder collection box, which holds some of my Big Finish CDs, on top of some DVD boxes, DVD and Blu-ray boxes. One of them also has the rest of the Big Finish CDs I have. And yeah, I'm just sitting on the floor. I decided to do this because I knew I had to review the story, and I'm going to have lunch in a little bit, and I'm going to have it upstairs, because sometimes I like having my lunch upstairs, just watching some YouTube, and then getting on to doing some maps whilst being out of the way of some people downstairs, or if there's not much time downstairs, that's usually on Friday, to watch a film or some TV. So yeah, so because I'm going to have lunch in a few minutes, I thought I'd do the review sitting down here on the floor instead of sitting on the bed on the tripod. So, Celestial Toymaker. Bloody hell, this is a great story. I mean, it does take its time to get through it all, but it's fun. I know some people weren't so keen on it when it originally aired, according to Wikipedia. There was some people who didn't like it, they found it a bit dull. The final episode was a bit boring. In the meantime, I know quite a few people now would consider episode 4 to be the surviving episode, the only one that you need to watch. Thankfully, this is on disc 1 of this brilliant box set. Thank God for this box set. Alex Patterson is right. Lost in Time is probably the best box set you can get, because of you've got 18 episodes that, apart from some now, before 2013 at least, you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. Some of them, of course, have now had episodes found or reanimated and have got their own individual releases. So yeah, he's got a point about that. So anyway, that's Alex Patterson, aka the Doctor Who Guide. So quite a few people think part 4 is the only one that's actually necessary and you don't need the others. Maybe part 1, because set up the story, but most of them consider you only need the last one, which is thankfully the surviving episode. And I would say that is one of the best episodes on the box set, is that because, on principle anyway, because it's the last episode. The first and the last episodes are the ones I would say are the ones that would be the ones I would say would be the best ones to be uncovered, because start of the story and end of the story. In the case of the Underwater Menace, they're the two missing ones at the moment, so you've got the middle of the story for that one. But I really enjoy this story. I find it really fun. P.S. There's supposedly a use of the N-word in episode 2, and the reconstruction I watched was loose cannons, but according to Wikipedia it's left in full. But neither time that I watched the episode, the original viewing or the rewatch for this review, neither time I picked up on it. So it was either very subtle and it went by quickly very early on, or the person who's uploaded this has cut it out. And in the normal soundtrack, it is still there, but with Peter Purves' narration covering it, so not to offend modern audiences. It probably would offend modern audiences if it was found, but I would not say have it cut. Maybe have a warning at the start that it contains one use of bad language. I wouldn't say give it a higher age rating, though. I think PG would be okay. But a warning to just to say this episode contains a racial slur. Please be aware this may offend some audiences. But it was used at a time where it was still acceptable. Of course, if people feel that it's too offensive now, then fair enough, remove it from the episode. If it's found, of course, if they find the episode, then it can be removed if necessary. From the reconstruction, it seems to have been cut, by the sounds of it, because, well, certainly from the upload I watched, because I never picked up on it. Maybe it was there and I just didn't notice. I was more focused on the stories, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they can leave it in and people just not notice. That'd be a good thing. Anyway, back to the story. It's a really enjoyable story. You get to see Stephen and Dodo having to go through all these activities with the clowns, and then with some playing cards, and then with dolls. Sorry, not dolls, nursery rhyme characters. Or nursery stories, I should say. And it's some really good stuff. And also Cyril, who is, in the last episode, very much like a Billy Brown type of character, and the BBC got a lot of notes from, got into a lot of trouble for that, because it was because the character was very much like Billy Brown, very much like that character. So, but in the terms of the episode, he makes a lot of sense, and he is a bit of a prick. They're all pricks, but in the end, they get their comeuppance, and Stephen and Dodo get the better of them, or they make a silly mistake, and Stephen and Dodo eventually win out. Watching them doing these activities was fun. They had to play hopscotch on blocks, and have an mini obstacle course with the clowns. In part 2, they had to sit some dolls on chairs with the King and Queen. And part 3, first of all, they had to look for a key to get to the next room, and then they had to go through some dancing dolls. And then part 4 was the hopscotch game with Cyril. Okay, so the clown one was the obstacle course. Okay, and whilst this is going on, the Doctor's playing a logic game that I think for anybody else would be difficult. He's only got 1,023 moves, and the Toymaker is playing against the Toymaker, and he's invisible. He's only got a hand to do it, just so William Hartnell could have a week or 2 holiday, but have some recording time to record some pre-recorded lines. Also, it was fun fact, when the Doctor reappears here, it was originally intended that he'd be replaced by another actor due to William Hartnell's deteriorating health. But they decided not to, so producer John Wiles left because he's clashed with William Hartnell quite a bit. And so Innes Lloyd, the next producer, who goes on to the mid-season 5, apart from Tim Sideman, where Peter Bryant has a test run at being producer. So Innes Lloyd takes over for a bit, for 2 seasons, in whole, I suppose. And so therefore, William Hartnell did not turn into another actor after reappearing at the end of this story. However, the idea would remain in the heads for when it became the regeneration idea, which was, of course, first used at the end of the 10th Planet, which we'll be getting to very soon. We've got another 5 stories till we get to Patrick Troughton. So 5 more William Hartnells after this. Michael Gough is also brilliant as the Celestial Toymaker. He is amazing. And I think the actors playing the other characters are really good. We got an actor playing the Joey Clown, the King card, and the Soldier. So you've got some actors are playing multiple roles. We've got that, him. Then we've got a actress playing the other clown, Clara, not to be confused with a companion of the same name with very little personality to her. I think the clown actually has more of it. The clown Clara has more personality than companion Clara. And then actress playing clown Clara also plays the Queen and then the Baker. And both of them have very good ranges of different personalities and characters and how they act and move as those characters. And there is also the actor who plays the Knave in part 2. Then he goes on to be the Kitchen Boy in part 3. And then part 4 he's Cyril. I think he's called Cyril throughout, but he's certainly Cyril, the naughty schoolboy, in part 4, and it's parts 1, 2, 3 for the other 3 actors. The other 2 actors respectively, and then 2, 3, and 4 for Cyril. not to be confused with the character from The Doctor Who in the Wardrobe of the same name, and this character also has more personality than that one. So, there you go, Classic Who fans. 2 characters from this story, who only get 3 episodes each, having more personality than a guest character from the new series, or a companion from the new series. So, Classic Who fans, smile, and give yourselves a round of applause. And then there's also The Fool in part 2 and some dancers in parts 2 and 3. They're just minor characters, they don't really do that much. The dancers are there for an obstacle, and the Fool's there so the King and Queen can try and get him to sit on a chair for a bit. The Knave is also there as a potential sitter down, and then he's just there for the kitchen stuff. He's better used in part 4 when it's just him as the naughty schoolboy, as opposed to his appearances in 2nd and 3rd episodes, whilst the King and Queen / the 2 clowns / the cook and the soldier were, well, soldier and cook were more utilised in their episodes, and I guess that's why the Toymaker just decided to have this naughty schoolboy just on his own at the end, and it's his own mistakes that leads him to end up as a dead slab, almost. Well, he gets electrocuted by his own electric floor after one of his own tricks he laid out for Stephen and Dodo leads him to fall off the block and electrified. Yeah, floor's electrified. So, yeah, it's all dangerous games, and if Stephen and Dodo had lost any of them, they would be the Toymaker's toy things forever, and the same for the Doctor, and he'd have the TARDIS. But thankfully, after the Doctor quickly finishes game, and the TARDIS leaves as soon as the Toymaker's world is destroyed. However, as explained, the Toymaker lives on, so he can go and create another one once this one is destroyed. So that's the Celestial Toymaker. It was fun, and it was great. Any nitpicks? Well, it's a little slow at the start and at the end. I actually thought parts 2 and 3 were a bit more progressive. Part 2 is actually my favourite, with them trying on the chairs. Minus racial slur, of course, which I think was in this edit. I think the uploader cut it out before uploading it. So minus racial slur, the episode is part 2 is probably the best one. But it's really good. And I like how Loose Cannon did the hand, how they did their CGI hand, whilst the normal one is just kind of a faded hand. It's not even a solid one, it's partly faded. But yeah, in the end, the Celestial Toymaker is fun, enjoyable, and really well done. If you take out that racial slur, which I think this version has, or in the audio version, narration has covered it, please tell me where in the episode where it actually is, so I can actually try and see if I can find it again in the rewatch. But anyway, but besides all that, it's a really great episode, really enjoyable and really fun. It's not quite 10 out of 10, but it certainly comes very close, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Even if the racial slur was included, it's still a 9 out of 10. It's only one reference, and to be fair, it's in a nursery rhyme context. I forgot to mention it's in a nursery rhyme context, so it wouldn't be intended as offensive, let alone being used. So, in that context, I think people would be a bit easier. The warning would also say, used in a nursery rhyme context. It's Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, which of course has several versions, and the one I think Tiger was the one I was always brought up on, for some reason. Or fish. Catch a fish by its toe. If it bites, let it go. Yeah, fish was the one. I think Tiger was the new version, but fish was the one I was brought up on. Yeah. Catch a fish by its toe. If it bites, let it go. Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. Yeah, I think fish was the one I always heard. But there's been several versions. I think Tiger is the most common, now. Anyway, so that's the Celestial Toymaker. Great story, really enjoyed it. But next up is a rival to the Ark and Mission to the Unknown as the weakest story of the season. I don't think it's the Ark anymore. I think it's probably Mission to the Unknown. But if any story is going to rival either of them for worst or second worst story of the season, it would be The Gunfighters. My friend Ollie Pajak absolutely hates this story with a passion, almost as much as Let's Kill Hitler, and then the song included. And I've not heard good things about this one from other people. And from my own experience, it is weaker than most of season 3 and 2. Most of seasons 3 and 2. Not as bad as the Romans, but you're not too far away. I mean, maybe. We'll see. But yes, The Gunfighters is next. Whoopee! And then we'll be on to The Savages, which is much better, and then The War Machines, which is brilliant. And then we'll be watching Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD, fantastic. The Smugglers, and The 10th Planet. Good. And then that's it from William Hartnell. So we've only got 5 more stories and a movie for Peter Cushing. Anyway, so, plus Dalek Mania and An Adventure in Space and Time to wrap up their Doctor's eras, and then we'll be moving on to Patrick Troughton with The Power of the Daleks re-review. And yeah, thank you for watching this review of the Celestial Toymaker, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel. Hello everyone, Nick here, trying to get a different perspective down. Hang on. Thought I had a burp coming. Okay, let's try it again. And it's his own mistakes that gives him the end. Sorry, and it's only. I'm just trying to fit something back in the drawer. Here we go. So, yeah, minus racial slur. Minus race. So, call that trying to work it out. Sorry, excuse me.